Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The first item on our agenda tonight is the consent agenda. The listing under consent agenda is a group of items to be acted on with a single motion and vote. This agenda is designed to expedite the handling of limited routine matters by City Council. Either the public or a council member may request that an item be removed from the consent agenda at that time prior to council's vote. The mayor will ask if a citizen or council member wishes to have any specific item removed from the consent agenda for discussion. A, approval of the minutes of the work session and regular council meeting held on March 8th, 2022. B, expenditure list for March 22nd, 2022 City Council meeting. C, approval of 4 special events permits for Cortez Retail Enhancement Association to host Third Thursday events on June 16th, July 21st, August 18th, and September 15th, 2022 at Montezuma Park, located at the corner of Market and Montezuma, Cortez. And approval of a renewal hotel and restaurant liquor license for Mi Mexico Restaurant DBA Mi Mexico, located at 801 East Main Street, Cortez.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Yazzie.
Aye.
Rainey.
Aye.
Dobry.
Aye.
Kiefhofer.
Aye.
Lucero.
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is citizen participation. 6 citizens will be allotted time to address council. No member of the public shall comment more than once at any meeting, nor shall any person be seated the time of another commenter. Comments may be listed to 4 minutes per person. Please comment on items not listed as public hearing. Council may or may not respond to comments. We'll open this to citizen participation now. If there's any citizens that wish to speak, go up to the podium and state your name and address and speak. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to presentations. The first presentation is the update by Municipal Court Judge Padilla. Good evening, Judge.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Just have a few updates from the courtroom. First, I've been on the bench for 4 months at this point. This is my second time addressing council. A few updates as it relates to case filings. I know there have been some questions from the council in the past as to how many cases we have and what types of cases. So far this year, we've had 88 cases. Excuse me, that's last year's data. Here we are. This year we've had 105 cases filed in the municipal court. That does include 48 parking violations, which is up from 1 parking violation first quarter last year. So that demonstrates the hard work that Officer Liska has been putting into his job in the community. Most of those parking tickets do not come before the court. Since I've last addressed you, we do now have court security, which is a vast improvement. Officer Liska has very graciously agreed, I think through Mr. Brock, of course, to come and provide security during our docket. So every individual that enters the courtroom is wanded and he is present. Previously, we did not have an armed officer in the courtroom, so that is a substantial improvement. Luckily, we haven't needed that, but it's certainly something that we want to have available in the event it becomes necessary. You may recall that I have asked the court staff to begin tracking how many of our cases are alcohol and drug related. So far this quarter, approximately 43% of individuals with criminal matters before the city of Cortez are alcohol or drug related. This is according to the police reports. So the court clerk is very graciously going through the police reports and tracking that data for me, so I appreciate Ms. Odell's ongoing efforts in that matter. You may recall that I determined I would start implementing substance use evaluations for certain individuals. I'm happy to report I've received one so far. So I ordered someone to do it, they did it, and it was filed with the court. We don't have a probation department, so I can't really require ongoing treatment, but my hope and intention is for those individuals struggling with alcohol and drug use in our community, I order them to at least do the evaluation. That way they have a contact with a mental health professional in the event that they want to receive ongoing services. It is now standard practice in the court that warrants are issued if individuals fail to appear. That is included in our code, that it says actually a warrant shall issue if an individual does not appear. Occasionally, I will not issue a warrant for good cause, but it has certainly become the standard. So there are many more warrants being issued when people do not come to court. If someone realizes that they've missed their court date, they can always come into court and address it. They don't have to be arrested. We haven't had any land use code violations recently, although I did meet with the code enforcement division, and I'm told that that may change once our weather changes. We worked diligently to close out old traffic cases. We had cases pending from 1999. Those are closed, and those have been addressed. So at this point, we only have cases from 2016 to present. Since I last saw you, we have implemented WebEx in the courtroom. It's a Zoom, it's a video option. I'm incredibly grateful to the IT department as well as the head of finance for assisting us with that. It's already working beautifully. We've been able to handle cases for defendants that live in Denver. We can handle their cases by video. One of our defense attorneys is out of Durango. He's been able to appear during horrible storms or when he's double booked by video. We're able to more efficiently handle our cases. I'm also told that the jury deliberating room is in the process. There is a firm under contract, so that's an update from Ms. Odell. I'm not directly involved in that, but I know that many of you are working on that, and we are grateful for those projected changes. We don't have any jury trials scheduled at this time. We did have one trial to the bench scheduled, but it did settle right before we began. So I don't know if any of you have any questions or concerns for the court.
I have a question.
Okay.
43% of how many, or what is that 43% equivalent to?
Correct. The data that I've been given from the court clerk is that we have 33 criminal cases filed this first quarter. 14 of those are alcohol related. None of them are drug related per se. Typically the police reports will say the individual appears under the influence. And so I believe that the court clerk is tracking that as alcohol, unless specifically it indicates a controlled substance or some other reason that the person is under the influence.
Okay, thank you.
My gut is that it's probably higher than 43%, but that is the data we're tracking right now. And there's also an increase in cases filed. We have 33 cases this first quarter. Last year, I'm told there were 12 cases. It was during COVID, so things were very different. So we're a little bit more back to normal. Any other questions?
I just want to say I'm glad that you are digging into the data fairly deeply, because I think that we can look at trends and those sorts of things. What are you most surprised about just being 4 months in? What's been?
I'm most surprised at the level of BAC that we're seeing. It's not uncommon for someone to have a blood alcohol content of 40%, like so 0.4, 0.08. It's illegal to drive, just to give you a little reference. I'm surprised by the amount of intoxicated pedestrians in the roadway, so individuals specifically on Main that law enforcement are encountering passed out in the dark due to intoxication.
I just got to say, I'm glad to hear that the video stuff is coming through, paying off finally. So.
It is working, and I'm told that with the transition to the new phone system, we may get perhaps a different video system. I don't know, but I know that it's working, and it's coming through on the record very clearly, which was a concern. And we haven't had any problems at all. With the website update, I think that the meeting ID will be published on our website so that the court clerks will not have to call individuals and give them the specific meeting ID number. Of course.
Yeah, I definitely just want to give kudos for the modernization of these processes and like getting everything closed and up to date. I appreciate that.
And all of the closing of the cases is 100% the court clerk and the assistant clerk. That was all their idea. So I worked through the cases, but I will take no credit for that. But I will pass on your statement to them. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Judge, for your presentation, and welcome aboard.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay. Next item, Drew Sanders, you want to introduce this item?
Yeah, Mayor and Council, thank you, Mayor, for allowing me to introduce this. There's been a lot of news and stuff going on right now, obviously, about the war in Ukraine, and certainly that concerns all of us. There, seems to be, a lot of helpless feelings of, what we can do to help. And so on. I did call the mayor and advise him that other communities are doing things like this in the way of a proclamation just showing support, and therefore I presented this to the mayor and suggested that the council consider this and perhaps pass this as an official document of the city of Cortez.
Thank you, Drew. I'll read the proclamation now. It's supporting the government and especially the people of the sovereign nation of Ukraine. Proclamation. Whereas the city of Cortez stands in solidarity with the peoples of sovereign nation of Ukraine as they defend themselves against Russia's unprovoked invasion and war against their sovereign right to exist as an independent nation. And whereas the city of Cortez stands with our allies and other countries, private corporations, religious leaders, states, and cities from around the world in condemning this horrific act of aggression by Russia, and collectively demand the immediate cessation of all hostilities. And whereas in these moments of crisis, the leadership demonstrated by President Zelensky, members of the Ukrainian armed forces, and citizens of Ukraine are a beacon of resolve and commitment to our shared principles, values, and the desire for peace and freedom. And whereas the public servants at the local level in Ukraine should be recognized as they strive to support and protect their fellow citizens under wartime conditions. Now, therefore, it be proclaimed by the City Council of the City of Cortez that 1, we condemn the acts of Russian aggression imposed upon the Ukrainian people. 2, we support the government and especially the people of the sovereign nation of Ukraine. And 3, we urge the Cortez community to contribute resources to the aid of the people of Ukraine. Witnessed by this hand, 22nd day of March 22nd, 2022. Michael J. Levy, Mayor. And I'll sign this petition. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, if it pleases the council, I think normally we would vote upon this. We'd accept a motion in a second and then vote upon it. We never have? Oh, okay.
I mean, we can if they want.
It's up to you, Mayor.
Should we have a vote on this? Do I hear a motion to approve or not approve?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the proclamation supporting the government and especially the people of the sovereign nation of Ukraine.
Second.
Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. Next item on the agenda will be introduced by Creighton Wright, Director of Parks and Recreation. Good evening, Creighton.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I'm pleased to present to you this proclamation here called the Mayor's Monarch Pledge. It was forwarded on to the city from some residents through a council member. It effectively is making a pledge of our city and for our residents to protect ultimately the monarch butterflies, although we're not in a real strong monarch butterfly territory. So it is a little bit more broadly written to support pollinators, generally speaking, in which that includes bees and butterflies more broadly. The pledge is something that is hosted by the National Wildlife Federation. So upon council's affirmative action here tonight, I'll go in and assign the pledge. As a part of that pledge, we had to commit to doing at least 3 things, and they are identified here in the proclamation. Those 3 things are to increase awareness of our residents of pollinator habitat. It is to encourage community gardens to plant pollinator-friendly vegetation. And lastly, to work to develop a demonstration pollinator garden here in the city. We've reached out to our community garden managers, Common Grounds, and they already have pollinator plants in their gardens, or the one garden by the rec center already. I also reached out to Fozzie's Farm out in Dove Creek, in which they have a demonstration garden. So I'm looking forward to reaching out to both of those to help us create a public pollinator demonstration garden near the rec center here this summer. So with that, Mayor, I would accept the proclamation should you read it and council accept it.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll go ahead and read the proclamation now. Proclamation for Mayor's Monarch Pledge. Whereas the monarch butterfly is an iconic North American species whose multi-generational migration and metamorphosis from caterpillar to butterfly has captured the imagination of millions of Americans. And whereas 20 years ago, more than 1 billion monarch butterflies migrated to Mexico, but in the winter of 2014, only 60 million made this trip. And whereas cities, towns, and counties play a critical role to help save the monarch butterfly and other pollinators, and the city of Cortez supports efforts to develop and preserve pollinator habitats. And whereas the city of Cortez will encourage pollinator-friendly plants in the community gardens, work to develop a demonstration pollinator garden, and generally increase awareness about the need for pollinator-friendly habitat. And whereas every citizen of Cortez can make a difference for the monarch and other pollinators by planting native milkweed and other native plants, nectar plants, to provide habitat for the monarch and other pollinators in locations where people live, work, learn, play, and worship. And whereas on behalf of the people of the city of Cortez, we have already created healthy habitats for the magnificent butterflies, I'm honored to sign the National Wildlife Federation's Mayor's Monarch Pledge, and I encourage other city officials across the great nation to take a stand with me so that the monarch butterfly will once again flourish across this continent. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Michael J. Levy, Mayor of the City of Cortez, do hereby proclaim March 22nd, 2022 as Mayor's Monarch Pledge Day in the city of Cortez, witnessed by my hand this 22nd day of March 2022. Okay, so done. Thank you very much for your presentation. I might add, I have a niece that lives back east, and she's a Monarch supporter. She's been raising monarchs, collecting eggs, has a habitat for them, and she tags the monarchs, and she's found a tag that she put on in upstate Ohio, and the monarch butterfly was located in Mexico later that year. So the little tiny tags on their wings, they can fly all the way back to Mexico with this tag on there, and it helps track the migration of these wonderful insects. So she'll be glad to hear about this proclamation, as will many other people. So, thank you. We open this up to public hearings. The first item on the public hearings is resolution number 7, series 2022. City planner Nancy Dostal. Good evening, Nancy. Did I pronounce your name right?
Dostal.
Awesome. Okay, thank you.
Good try. Good evening, Mayor and council members. I don't know if I met you all, but I'm your interim planning staff here, trying to keep things rolling while you try and hire and replace your previous planning staff. While I was sitting back there, I realized that, do you have the correct resolution in your packet for this project? Because I see the Planning Commission resolution, and I just want to, we can run and get it for you. It's been prepared. It just isn't in the packet that I was handed. Is it okay, Linda? Do they have it?
They should have it in their packet.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we have it in our packets.
Great, thank you. Thought I messed up right off. So bear with me, I'm learning. This request here is by Plaza Street Partners. They're proposing a site plan to construct a new, little over 3,000 square foot fast food restaurant with drive-through to be located at 330 South Broadway. The property is zoned commercial highway. It's currently vacant. Restaurants are considered a permitted use in the C zone, so this does not need a use permit. It's just a site plan review. The site is bounded on both the south and north by commercially zoned land. It will actually share an access with the Family Dollar store, so an access off the highway. And there is a shared access easement in place. The only property adjacent that is not commercial is to the east, accessed off a different road. It's zoned R2 and currently vacant. Regarding standards, the project meets or exceeds all the requirements in the C zone. As far as issues and discussion, the Planning Commission looked over this project and has recommended approval for it at their last meeting. Regarding agencies, the only comments were really about the sewer line that's existing on the property and an existing easement. The applicants are very well aware of that and will need to relocate that easement and that sewer line, and they have provided plans to do that to the satisfaction of the sanitation district. Really, that's about it. There haven't been a lot of issues with it. Staff is also recommending that you approve the resolution with 4 conditions. Those being that they meet all requirements of the utility providers, that they provide appropriate construction drawings and reports for the projects, signed and stamped, that the landscaping improvements as shown be installed prior to issuance of certificates of occupancy with maintenance as provided, and there's a way out if that happens in winter. And that also we added a fourth of that prior to issuance of the certificate of occupancy, that they vacate the existing sewer line easement and dedicate a new sewer line easement. Are there any questions?
So I have a really quick question for you. Do you anticipate there'll be any issues with landscaping or irrigation and maintenance, given that they have shared access with the dollar store? Is it a smaller space because of that?
It's actually quite a large site, 0.93 acres. And if you look, their landscaping, the requirement is 10% or 4,000 square feet, and they're providing over 9,000 square feet of landscape area. So they're doing a good job along the frontage, especially with Broadway.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution Number 7, Series 2022, approving a site development plan for the establishment of a restaurant, Popeyes Louisiana Chicken, at 330 South Broadway, located in the Commercial Highway Zoning District, with the four conditions. No, it's resolution.
It's under public hearing.
This is a public hearing, so we'll open this up to the public now. Are there any citizens wishing to participate? Seeing none, I close this to public comment. Could I have a motion on this item, please?
Yes. You have it.
Second.
Okay.
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is new business. The first item under new business is Resolution Number 9, Series 2022. City Planner Nancy, again, thank you.
This is a fairly simple request for correction for an amended plat to combine lots 171 and 172 of the Southern Bluffs subdivision. The applicant is proposing to combine the two lots to build one home on the existing two lots into one larger lot. There are no utility easements affected. They're all along the street frontage in this subdivision, so there's no issues with that. Let's see, the resultant lot will exceed all requirements of the existing zoning district, which is MH in Southern Bluff subdivision. We sent out requests for comments from agencies. We got a few back on them, although there were no real concerns. Mostly some questions and things that the applicant should be aware of when they construct regarding locations of utilities in that area. So no other comments. The staff's recommending approval of the amended plats with just two conditions: that of course they meet all requirements of all utility providers, departments, affected districts and codes, and that the plat be recorded in the clerk and recorder's office within 6 months of council approval.
Okay, are there any questions from council?
I have kind of a general question, and maybe not necessarily for you, and I probably should know it. Is Southern Bluffs, does it have an HOA at all, or no?
Yes, it does.
It does. And everybody was fine with a double-sized lot and all of that?
We didn't hear any comments from anyone. I believe this is not the first
Okay.
combined lot in that subdivision. I've heard that there's several.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 9, series 2022, a resolution approving an amended plat of lots 171 and 172 of the Southern Bluffs subdivision, second amended for Rodney and Debbie Case.
Second.
Kiefhoffer.
Aye.
Dobry.
Aye.
Yazzie.
Aye.
Rainey.
Aye.
Lucero.
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, next item under new business is resolution number 10, series 2022. Council will consider approving resolution number 10, approving the correction plat of Tract 3 Verde View subdivision. Nancy again?
Tract 3 of Verde View subdivision is actually owned by the city of Cortez. The request here is simply to correct what was discovered as a survey error. It really isn't technically changing anything. I'm not a surveyor, so it's hard to explain. But what happened was when the surveyor was doing some work in locating the street right away, they discovered that some of the pins were not correctly noted. So a correction plat has been completed. What will happen is that the city's lot is the lot on the corner there of Verde View and Cedar Street. You won't really lose land, but the two lots to the east will be correctly described in the future. So it's, like I said, it's kind of complicated, but nothing really changes on the ground. The recorded plats will now recognize, with the recording of this correction plat, will recognize that the lot lines that really they should have in the past. No utilities are affected at all. So really the only purpose is to correct the previous survey error as described, which is one of the criteria for doing a replat or plat amendment. The staff's recommending that you approve it. We did not send the project out to agencies since no agencies were affected by this survey correction error. So staff is recommending that you approve the correction plat, and with just the condition that it get recorded in the clerk and recorder's office, again within 6 months of council approval.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions? Could I have a motion on this item, please?
Mr. Mayor, I move that the council approve resolution 10 series 2022, a resolution approving the correction of plat of Tract 3 Verde View subdivision.
Second.
Rainey.
Aye.
Lucero.
Aye.
Kiefhoffer.
Aye.
Yazzie.
Aye.
Dobry.
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you. Next item under new business is resolution number 11, series 2022. Presenter Drew Sanders. Good evening, Drew.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. And this is about 3 meetings we've discussed this, and we've come in with some suggested or proposed language for the council to consider. Understand that there may be some disagreements or some changes that wish to be made. You'll note that I put it up on the screen so that 4 amendments can be made if desired. Mayor, would you care for me to read them, or how would you like me to go?
Go ahead and read those.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Citizen comments, and this would, by the way, go to replace on the council agenda an item number 3, citizen participation. So this is what we're talking about. Under the proposed language here, it reads, individuals may comment regarding items on the city or the council agenda or any other topic they wish to address the city council about, including items discussed in a previous council workshop. Those wishing to comment must register by completing an intent to speak card located outside the council chambers. Completed cards will be collected at the start of the meeting and delivered to the mayor, who will call each speaker to the podium at the appropriate time. Comments specific to the agenda items scheduled for public hearings should be reserved and delivered during the public hearing session. Courtesy, civility, and respect for others is expected. All comments should be addressed directly to the council. Commenters who are called upon by the mayor to speak are the only persons allowed to speak during the allotted time. Comments or other distractions from the audience intended for commenters or others are not permitted. The mayor, as the chairperson for the meeting, retains the discretion to deviate from the formats described below. There are two general opportunities for citizens to address the council. For the first opportunity, and in parentheses, which will occur towards the start of the meeting, end parenthesis, there is no limit to the number of speakers. Although public comments will be held to an overall time limit of 30 minutes, so city business may proceed. Speakers have a time limit of 3 minutes per person, may only speak once, and may not cede time to other commenters. For the second opportunity, parenthesis, which will occur towards the end of the meeting, end parenthesis, there is no limit to the number of speakers and no overall time limit. Speakers have a time limit of 3 minutes per person, may only speak once, and may not cede time to other commenters. Other opportunities to participate. Citizens may also participate via email if addressed to councilcomments@cortezco.gov. Comments received by 3 p.m. the day of the council meeting will be delivered to the council the same day and entered into the meeting minutes. Citizens may also send letters to the council by addressing them to City Council, 123 Roger Smith Avenue, Cortez, Colorado, 81321. In-person deliveries are also accepted. And Mayor, I also note that that email address above is currently active, so we could use that at any time.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments, council?
I think the only comment that I have would be around language. Could we change citizens to the public, or the title of that section to public participation? That would be my only comment. Thank you.
Okay.
I have a concern about the second speaking opportunity. I think, personally, I think there should be some overall time limit given, especially if we have no limit on the number of speakers, because it could last quite a long time.
Any other comments, questions?
I don't think that should be limited. I do think it's rare when we would have a lot of comment, but on occasion around certain issues, I think we want to make sure that we can hear from the entire community. I think that it's part of the job. It's one of the reasons that we moved some of the comment to the back of the agenda, is so that we can still work through our agenda and get the people's business done. But I do think we should be open to and willing to hear from anyone in the community. So, thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
Yeah, I don't see no problem with that, Robert.
Okay.
I agree with you there.
Okay.
Well, then I'll make a motion to approve the resolution altering the city council agenda and public comment with the one change to have the title be public comment, as Councilman Yazzie mentioned.
Sorry, Mayor, I couldn't hear that comment.
Yeah.
Sorry, and the rest of the language that says citizen.
Yeah, to change all of the
Yeah.
So
all the
citizen
citizen
to
comments to
public,
public
okay.
comment. Yeah.
Mayor and council, one question that's come up, and it's probably best to resolve it right now, is how many times may a speaker speak per meeting? Can a person come and speak at both sessions if they want to, or can they speak at both?
Any objections to speaking twice?
I have one other question. When would be an opportune time to revisit this if it turns out that it's not working to the advantage of the city?
Well, we could always bring it, any councilman could always, or council person could always bring it up in a work session if there's an issue or if it's not working.
Before we take the vote, there's one thing that I really thought about too was, but I think it's pretty well captured in here about courtesy, civility, respect for others is expected. All comments should be addressed directly to the council. I was thinking over the past few days about comments should pertain to city business. And I guess where I'm coming from with that is that we're all here to take care of city business, and I think that when people come and approach city council with their comments, by and large, I'd say 90% of the time, they're also focused on city business as well, and they have a question, or they have an answer for us, or they have something to share. I don't necessarily want to add that to, I think it may be already covered in here, but I just wanted to state that. I think that, you know, the focus really should be on city business when people come and make comments.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Motion on this
Did you
item?
get your answer?
No, I didn't. I'm wondering if we
think you
should
got
have
your
some
answer.
language here, and if the answer is no, then we would just leave that language out. But if it's our intent to allow one person to speak once during a meeting, then that's, we would want to add that language.
Okay. That's good. Okay. Can I have a motion on this item?
But
We should
sorry.
answer
Well,
the question.
yeah, we should resolve that question before we get to that
I
motion.
think, okay, so a thought that I have is, you know, we only have 6 people at the beginning, they can only speak once. And then at the end, they could speak once more if they, you know, if they stick around, or they could submit their comments through the email or drop it off to City Hall. So there's
Correct.
options there. So I'm not opposed to them, I guess, speaking twice during a meeting if they wanted to, but they have to do it once at each section. Does that make sense?
Okay? And
That's
that would be
my
the
thought.
format that we have here then.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Okay, I'll give a second then.
Okay.
Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Lady.
Aye. Thank you. Next item is the 2022 flatbed truck bid results. Rick Smith, General Services Director. Good evening, Rick.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. I'd like to call your attention to the memo that I passed out separate from the packet. I had made several errors on the first one in your packet, and I have a corrected copy here for you. The 2022 Equipment Fund has $90,000 allocated for the purchase of a new flatbed for use in public works. And also the 2022 Water Fund also provides $90,000 for the purchase of an additional flatbed truck for the water department for a total of $180,000. The old units we're replacing are 1993 Ford F700s, and we can't get parts for them anymore. They're pretty old. As a refresher for City Council, these flatbeds are used for the citizens to reserve, and the city will leave it over the night, over the weekends, and then they can fill it up with things they want to haul off to the dump, and then the Public Works crews will come by and pick it up, take it down. They are also used for both departments for hauling tree limbs, old pipe that comes out of the ground, pieces of concrete, gravel. So they're kind of used in the day-to-day duties of the Public Works and Water Department. They're also used to remove snow when we get, if we ever get snow. When we have a wind road down Main Street, because the big 10-yard dump trucks have sanders in them, they use these flatbeds to haul that snow off. So they're pretty essential to the operations of the city. So specifications were drawn up and bids were received on March 4th. We received 3 responses to our request. Only had 2 bidders. Both vendors are out of town bidders. The low bidder was Roberts Truck, International Truck Chassis with an MTC body, $93,643.83 per each. They estimate delivery on that to be 365 days. And the purchase of the 2 trucks from the low bidder, Roberts Truck, would be $7,287.66 above the budgeted amount. And there are funds within the equipment fund and the water fund to carry that overage.
Thank you.
The one question I had is, are you going to be disposing of the existing, the older trucks that you were saying? Are you going to be to auction or whatever as part of that?
Yes, sir. They'll go to the city online auction service, yes.
Do you anticipate that the auction price would cover that overage, that $3,600?
I would hate to guess, but I would think it would certainly cover that $7,200 for the two units, especially in today's market, I would guess. So,
Rick, would you say we've had pretty good luck in the past with those online auctions?
yes, we have.
Yeah.
As an example, Matt, we've had people come from Minnesota to buy one of our old snow plows, and I asked him, I said, why would you buy a snow plow when you got them in Minnesota? And he said, because out here they're not rust buckets. Back there they use so much salt, everything's rusted out. So he thought he got a really good deal.
Have we done business with the Roberts Truck Company before?
We have.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
I was going to ask, with that international, I noticed everything was international. We don't have troubles with any parts or anything on that?
Well, these are all dealers, and Roberts is in Farmington. That's where we have to get all our parts now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Do you have a motion on this item?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to award the purchase of 2 flatbed trucks from the low bidder, Roberts Truck, 1 unit from the equipment fund at $93,643.83, and 1 unit from the street fund at $93,643.83. The total amount of award is $187,287.66.
Second.
Dobry,
Aye.
Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is a change order for number 1 for purchase of a Chevrolet truck. Rick Smith, General Services Director again. Good evening, Rick.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. This is actually a sign of the times. On May 13th of last year, 2021, the city placed an order for a new truck for the building maintenance department that had a utility bed on it. That was under purchase order number 210530 at a price of $41,409.64. And that purchase is coming out of the equipment fund. Well, fast forward, it's been almost a year. We finally got the truck is built, and they took it to the upfitter to get the utility bed on it. And the upfitter now is requiring, because of the cost of materials, $1,358 additional cost for the utility bed. So the best way to handle this was to create it as a change order to the actual purchase authorized by City Council last year. If the council approves that, the cost of the truck will actually total out to be $42,767.64.
Thank you. Any other questions? Council? You have a motion on this item?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve change order number 1 for the Chevrolet truck at $1,358 for a new total purchase price of $42,767.64.
Second.
Yazzie.
Aye.
Rainey.
Aye.
Dobry.
Aye.
Kiefhoffer.
Aye.
Lucero.
Aye.
Levy.
Aye.
Thank you.
Rick.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is award of bids for parks and golf course fertilizer and chemicals. Presenter is Creighton Wright, Parks and Recreation Director. Good evening, Creighton.
Good evening again, Council. So in order to maintain our turf grass and our heavily used parks and golf courses, we use fertilizers and chemicals, several different types of chemicals and fertilizers. The parks namely uses fertilizer, which is bid item number 1. The golf course uses all the rest of the items to maintain the fairways, roughs, and greens. The items that the golf course uses are granular and liquid fertilizers, micronutrients, herbicides, wetting agents, and growth regulators. The request for bids combined the needs of both the golf course and the parks this year. And we actually, Mr. Smith, who was just here, wrote into our request for bids that each of the individual items could be awarded individually based on the best possible price. The bids were let out publicly and opened in early March. 6 companies submitted bids. Each bidder is being awarded at least one item. There were several of the vendors who proposed substitutes that were rejected as they didn't meet specifications. Bid items number 13 and number 14 are not being awarded at this time. The bid tabulation results are included in your packet for your review. The yellow highlighted items are the low bid items, and the red text that are under the items are items that were proposed as a substitute. I do have in the audience with me here tonight Mr. Tom Kramlich. He's the golf superintendent, and he's really the technical expert on this stuff should you have questions on any of these items. The low bid items are also the staff recommendation, so I'll read those off here in a moment. The total bid award is $33,662.76, split between the golf course and the park's budgets. The golf course portion of that is $25,862.75. The park's portion is $7,800. Each parks and golf course budgeted an amount that was greater than what this bid was, although the golf course was just slightly higher in budget. The award is just below budget, so it's within our budget capability. So now the recommendation for you to consider here tonight, which is also the low bid items. The total bid award again was $33,662.76 to the following bidders. Bid items number 10 and 19 to Winfields in the amount of $2,171.16. Bid items number 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, and 20 to Van Dyst in the amount of $3,065.40. Bid items number 12, 15, 23, and 26 to Target Specialty in the amount of $2,757.90. Bid items 1, 2, 3, 16, 21, 24, and 25 to Harrell's in the amount of $21,065.10. Bid items number 4 and 22 to Horizon in the amount of $1,858.20. And lastly, bid item number 17 and 18 to Mile High Turf Grass in the amount of $2,745. So with that, Council, that is the end of my presentation. I will take any questions that you may have, and as I mentioned earlier, should you have any technical questions about the items, I'll invite Mr. Kramlich up to speak to those.
I just had a question about the bidding, and Rick Smith may be the better one to answer this question. It's about just the process. For other chemicals, we work with our partners at the county and the other municipalities to do a combined bid, and I just wanted to see if there would be an opportunity in the future to do this through a combined bid as well.
Yeah, I'm going to have to definitely defer to Mr. Smith on this one.
Good evening, Rick, again.
We could certainly research that. The city parks department also participates in this, but the nearest golf course would be out of the area. Durango, Monticello, would of course be the Farmington area for as far as golf courses go. But I know that they share with parks a lot of times back and forth. But Tom's an expert on what nutrients go with what and all that, so, but we could certainly explore that.
I know a lot of the golf course stuff would be a little more specialized, but for some of the park side of it, I was wondering if we could work with our partners there. I don't know how much savings we would have, but it could potentially help our partners in Dolores and Mancos if we're ordering a larger volumes, that they could kind of piggyback with that.
And I guess it would be similar, we do that for like the water treatment facility, right?
Yes, and we can certainly do that. I'll have Brad possibly this next year reach out to our, like Dolores and Mancos and so forth, maybe even the school district.
Thank you, Rick.
Creighton, I don't have a question, and I hope this isn't too far off topic, and it's nothing, I mean, you've just started, but in the past, we've had kind of spotty flagging where fertilizer and chemicals are applied, and I'm thinking that it'd be really great in places where there might be little kids or pets like dogs, et cetera, to have those areas flagged. Yeah. Thanks.
Take note of that. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Can I have a motion on this item, please?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the recommended fertilizer and chemical bid in the total amount of $36,662.76 to the following vendors. Bid items 10 and 19 to Winfields for $2,171.16. Bid items 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, and 20 to Van Diest for $3,065.40. Bid items 12, 15, 23, 26 to Target Specialty for $2,757.90. Bid items 1, 2, 3, 16, 21, 24, 25 to Harrell's for $21,065.10. Bid items 4 and 22 to Horizon for $1,858.20. Bid items 17 and 18 to Mile High Turfgrass for $2,745 even.
Can I make a correction? It was $33,662.76.
Yes.
Second.
Yazzie.
Aye.
Dobry.
Aye.
Kiefhoffer.
Aye.
Lucero.
Aye.
Rainey.
Aye.
Lady.
Aye. Thank you, Creighton. Okay, next item on the agenda is resolution number 8, series 2022. Michael Green, City Attorney. Good evening, Michael.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. This is an amendment to the original agreement for the fiber partnership with Montezuma County south of the city. County Road G gets fiber to the airport, that portion of the county. Originally, the strands had been allocated just between the city and the county discovered that they had actually transferred ownership or had promised to transfer ownership of 144 strands to the COG. So what this agreement does is recognize that the county owns 144 fewer strands. The COG owns 144 strands, and then it reallocates, as I understand, the potential profits from those strands between the city and the county. And the county's share goes down and the city's share goes up a bit as far as the profit goes. Staff's reviewed this and city attorney's reviewed it, and it's recommended we approve the amendment.
Thank you, Michael. Any questions or comments?
So the county's strands went down?
Yes, ma'am.
Were they made aware of that?
Pardon?
Were they made aware of that?
The county made me aware of it. Mr. McLaren, the county attorney, called me up and said, hey, we need to reallocate the strands. Evidently, there was, at the time we did the original agreement, it was not clear that those strands had been transferred to the COG. They were going to be made available to the COG, but ownership was not the way it was not the anticipated way that was going to occur.
In our agreement with the county, in the event that either of us wants to sell or transfer strands of fiber, do we both have to agree to it? Is that how it's set up?
Technically speaking, yes, sir.
Okay.
I think each of us could allocate our own strands out, but this was of the initial strands in the beginning, so that the COG has these strands to allocate, as I understand, for potential use by the tribe and or CDOT, and those were part of the original setup. But we're free to do what we want to do with our strands without the county saying where they go. We can sell them, and they would be managed by this agreement, is my understanding.
That was my question. If nobody has any other question, I'll make a motion. Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve Resolution Number 8, Series 2022, approving Cortez Community Network Enterprise Amendment to Agreement.
Second.
Lucero.
Aye.
Kiefhoffer.
Aye.
Dobry.
Aye.
Rainey.
Aye.
Yazzie.
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you.
Take it up to.
Okay, that concludes our resolutions. City council or city manager's report. Drew? Do you have
Yeah, good
any-
evening, Mayor and Council. The top three current events and topics for the city. We just learned this week that our code enforcement officer, Thomas Anderson, he just received his ICC residential building certification. So Tom actually saw the need, and in case you don't know, our building inspector did over 300 inspections last year, ran him pretty ragged. Thomas saw a need and actually started working towards the certification on his own, and he achieved this ultimately. And we really appreciate Thomas for his hard work and dedication to achieve this. This is a big deal and literally doubles our capabilities in this area. Number two, with all of our new directors in place, we are planning to host an open house at the Sunflower Theater on April 6th, 2022 from 5:30 to 7 p.m. This is basically a meet the city leadership open house. We're highlighting our newest directors and so on, but all of us will be on hand to interact and answer questions from the public. There will be a presentation by our Community and Economic Development Director, Rachel Marchbanks, on the topic of economic development and considerations for our community. Light refreshments will be served. Everyone is welcome and encouraged to come. Three, we met last week to discuss the upcoming Sligo and Mildred road projects. We met with our stakeholders, and internal as well as external. The RFPs for this will be sent out in April, and with work hopefully starting in May. The Sligo project involves pretty much the full rebuild of that road, which will have to occur after the end of the school year for obvious reasons. And then Mildred, it is going to be a real difficult one because it's actually going to be the road right in front of the hospital as well, and there is no other accesses besides Mildred, so we're working through some of those issues right now. Public Works has been planning and working on how best to deal with the obvious problems. We will be communicating with the public prior to work commencing and regularly during these projects. We actually have several things set up in the way of reader boards and other public outreach to notify literally on a daily basis what changed for you. So, then Mayor, if it's okay, I would like to do an employee highlight.
Yes, go ahead.
Tonight, I'd like to highlight Lori Oliver Millich. She was nominated by Chief Vernon Knuckles. Lori Millich is the executive assistant for the chief and assistant chief of the Cortez Police Department. As the executive assistant, she supports the chiefs in a variety of complex and confidential duties, including managing internal personnel records, gathering information, preparing reports, and coordinating with the chief and assistant chief. Lori started her career at the city of Cortez 37 years ago. In 1985, as a full-time PBX operator. We even have, what is PBX anyway? In 1987, Lori transferred to the service center as a general services secretary. In 1991, she returned to the police department as a records clerk. In 1996, Lori became the chief police's administrative secretary, and in 2021, her position changed to executive assistant to the chief of police to reflect her professional duties more accurately. Excuse me. Along with her official duties, Lori also takes on many unassigned additional responsibilities, such as being a member of the City Wellness Committee. Moreover, it is not uncommon to find Lori taking on not-so-glamorous tasks, such as sweeping up leaves in the back parking lot of the police department or out front conducting VIN inspections. Lori contributes to the police department in the city of Cortez. Her contributions are too numerous to mention, but one guarantee is that if something needs doing, Lori is always eager to jump in and do it. Lori is a lifelong resident of Montezuma County, an avid runner who completed numerous half marathons. The races Lori talks about the most are the races she can run with her daughter. Lori is the mother of two, both grown, and the grandmother of three. When a baby comes into the PD, it ends up in Lori's arms. Lori is a country girl who loves farming, driving the tractor, cutting hay, and ranching with her husband. When I spoke to Lori about presenting this employee highlight, she was so humbled and insisted another employee be selected. Lori's humility speaks volumes to her character and work ethic. This quiet professional from behind the scenes provides an enormous value to our team. Lori never seeks recognition, but always goes beyond what is expected to ensure the police department and the city provide the best possible service to citizens and visitors. And I was really pleased when I turned this in to one of the recipients that would receive this. I got an unsolicited comment back about just how much she helps in other areas of the city that we never probably would see. So thanks to Lori, and if you could pass that on, Chief, that how grateful we are for having her here with us. With that being said, Mayor, that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Drew. Our sincere thanks to Lori for all she's done. Okay. City Council committee reports. Have any City Council people been to any committees? No? In between. Okay. There is no workshop this evening. Other items of business. We're going to adjourn to executive session to discuss purchase, acquisition, lease, transfer, or sale of real, personal, or other property interests under CRS Section 24-6-4024A. Discussion will be held on possible land acquisition. The council will adjourn for a short time for executive session.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make the motion to adjourn to executive session under CRS Section 24-6-4024A. Discussion will be held on a possible land acquisition.
Second.
Dobry.
Aye.
Yazzie.
Aye.
Rainey.
Aye.
Lucero.
Aye.
Kiefhoffer.
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you.
Mayor, if I may, would it be permissible to invite Rachel Marchbanks into this meeting? She has.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
We invite Rachel. Thank you. Okay. time is now 9:02 p.m., and the executive session has been concluded. Participants in the executive session were Michael Green, Rachel Marchbanks, Drew Sanders, Robert Dobry, Arlena Yazzie, David Rainey, Matt Kiefhofer, and myself. Purpose of the meeting was to discuss land acquisition. Okay, are there any other comments, questions, council? I call this meeting adjourned. Thank you all. You're right, Orly.